Hello, good morning, everyone. Can you hear me? Can you see my screen? If you can, please type in hi in the comment section. So let's start up this session. I'm still finding it difficult to load up my monitoring screen here. So give me a moment, please. Okay, I think I can see my screen, but I can't see comments at the moment. So despite the fact that I can't confirm if you all can hear me, I would um, I would want to start right away because I can see my screen, but I'm not sure if you can hear me at this point. So, welcome to yet another beautiful session of Extra Speed Live, hosted by my humble self, Sheriff Daramola. I shall be taking. Okay, I think someone has confirmed to me that. Okay, so I welcome you all to yet another beautiful session of Extra Speed Life, hosted by my humble self, Sheriff Daramola. I shall be taking you on a trading journey here, where we shall be evaluating the um, market using technical parameters like such as trend line continuation patterns, reversal patterns, market structures, and at the same time, um, we'll be using these parameters to identify trading opportunities lining up for us during the New York session. So the first thing we'll be doing today is to look at the pairs we deliberated on yesterday. We want to see how well we are doing. In fact, based on what I have right now, we actually did very, very well on the pairs yesterday as we were able to hit our take profit level on most of the trades during the course of yesterday's trading session. So we shall be looking at the pairs and what is going to be our plans going forward. So the first pair we want to be looking at this morning is the US oil. And on the US oil, we were able to hit our take profit target. Let's look at what we have here on the 1 hour time frame. Remember, we were at this point yesterday where I was telling you how this level at the $89 mark has been a very strong demand zone in the last 72 hours. And if we go back to the beginning of the week, we were able to identify a structure around here where we were expecting that a breakout of that structure should give us a signal that we are going bullish. And one thing I said is that we are not going to be getting too excited at the sight of a signal as we want to be looking for a retest of structure to join the rally. Now that happened. We had a retest of structure on Tuesday on the 9th of August, we took advantage of this move to the upside, and unfortunately price came back down to our entry zone. So during the course of yesterday's trading session, I was able to identify a demand zone around this point here, demand zone at around the $89 level, and I told you to be mindful of taking advantage of a bullish momentum here during yesterday's live session. And one thing we noticed here is this: we saw this engulfing candle that took us right out of the structure with about, how many pips that is? I think about over 150 pips thereabout. So if you are taking that move, you could have taken that 150 pips move, probably moved your stop loss to break even so that you don't get stopped out with the sudden bearish engulfing candle that took over the next hour. Now price came back, we saw a sharp rejection again of that bearish trend line that we identified on Monday, and price continued to the upside. So if you had actually taken advantage of this move, I will say kudos to you, as we are in about how many pips? At least you will have moved from above this $89 level. I told you above $89 level seems most appropriate to take advantage of a bullish momentum here. So we are right now running about 400 pips here, and price is exactly at the point where our take profit target was supposed to be. You know, I told you our take profit target is going to be between the $92.5 and $94 area, which you can see also shares a confluence with the bearish trend line we identified on the daily time frame. You might be asking me which bearish trend line is that. Okay, let's scale up to the 4 hours time frame, where hold on a second. Okay, we have this bearish trend line that has been guiding price action since the middle of the month of June, and connected the series of lower highs here, we were able to get this bearish trend line, and right now price appears to be around that bearish trend line zone at this point. So if you're still in this trade, I will be suggesting you want to be taking your profits at this point in time, as this is enough for today, and let's see how price is going to react with this level at the $93 mark. So what we want to be looking forward to on this level is we have two possibilities that could be happening here, and the first one is the option of a breakout of that structure. So if we're going to be seeing a breakout of that bearish trend line on the US oil, that is definitely going to be giving us a signal that we are going bullish. But as usual, we want to be mindful that we don't want to get too excited at the sight of a signal, as we want to wait for price action to give us that confirmation in the form of a retest of the key level up at $93 mark, or it could be the bearish trend line. What we're looking for is a retest with patterns on lower time frame that supports a trend continuation to the upside. And when I mean patterns on lower time frame, I'm talking about reversal patterns right above that key level, or probably right below the key level. But one thing we want to be looking forward to is a reversal pattern around this area after a breakout, a retest in the form of a double, it could be a double bottom structure, it could be an inverse head and shoulder pattern. But what we want to see is a reversal pattern that will support a trend continuation. Then we can join the potential rally to the upside. So this is the first scenario we want to be looking forward to here on the US oil. Then the other scenario is this: we could be having a reversal pattern around the key level here. That is, we could have price reject this level. We could have a first touch, probably a double top structure, which could be a breakout of structure, a retest of structure, which could send price crashing to the downside. So we have two scenarios we are looking forward to here. So my advice on the US oil this morning is that we want to be patient. Please, if you are still in that trade, you want to lock in your profit, probably for me personally, it's advisable that you just close your position with about a 400 pips here. I think that is quite okay. So let's see how price is going to relate with this level at the $93 area, and which during the New York session, let's see if we are going to be seeing a breakout of that key level, which also shares a confluence with the bearish trend line we were able to identify after connecting the series of lower highs since the month of June. Then if we see a breakout of structure, we want to wait for further confirmation in the form of a retest of that level to join any rally here. And if we are going to be joining any bullish momentum at this point, where will our take profit target be? So it is necessary I just make this clear that if we have a breakout retest of structure in the next 24 hours, our next take profit target is likely going to be at around the $100 mark. At least for the meantime, let's see how price is going to relate with that significant level, that is the $100 mark. And one thing about the $100 mark is this: if we look left, we can see that this level has been a major determinant of price action. If you look at what happened here, we saw selling momentum right from that point, and we saw selling momentum here in the month of July, and at the same time that level also was a very strong demand zone, but was not strong enough to push price further to the upside. As we can see that from the $100 mark in the month of July has been pushing price to the downside from here. So let's see how price is going to relate with that level. That is, if we have a breakout of that key level at $93 mark. And the other scenario is if we have a reversal pattern here, that is, we have a double top structure or a head and shoulder pattern, whatever that is, then we want to be moving to the downside. So what I'll be saying here is this: let our take profit target at the moment be at around the $89 mark. Obviously, if we look left, we can see that this area has been a major determinant of buying opportunity in the past, and also this area too as well. So let's move our take profit target to this area if we have any selling opportunity from this point. So like I said, what we are looking forward to is either a breakout of the key level at the $93 mark, which will give us a signal, then we wait for confirmation, or we could have multiple rejection of the key level at the $93 mark. So like I said, let's just stay tuned in, be on standby for any opportunities coming in. So unfortunately I can't see my chart, and I will have wished to ask questions, probably if anyone has any question whatsoever, but from the technical team, they are already working on it, and this will be resolved in the next couple of minutes, I hope, so that we can interact as usual. So in the meantime, I think we'll just have to move on and let's see how far we can go. So hold on a second, please, before we move on to the next pair. All right, so let's move on to the next pair. The next pair obviously is the US Tech, which we deliberated on yesterday. And on the US Tech, we were actually expecting a bearish momentum on the US Tech, but things did not move as expected. Though we were expecting price to come into our structure. And if we look at what happened here on the daily time frame, on the 4 hours time frame, we saw, hold on a second, I'm trying to, let's see what happens here. So let's zoom into the structure we have here. So on Tuesday stroke Wednesday, we were able to take this profit from this point. We took this drive from here into this point here, which gave us about how many pips that is. We gave us about 200, a minimum of 200 pips here. And during the course of the live session yesterday, I was explaining to you how I'm expecting price to come back into either this level, the structure here, or probably a retest of that bullish trend line. You remember we had a breakdown of that bullish trend line here. We had a breakdown of that bullish trend line, and from a technical perspective, if we see a breakout or breakdown of structure, we expect price to come back and do a retest of structure before we're going to be seeing a trend continuation in the direction of the prior leading price action. And in this case, we have a breakdown of that bullish trend line, that is the red dotted line we have here, and price appears to have come back into that bullish trend line. So what are we going to be seeing here? We are right at a very critical level at this point. So let me be deleting this. I want to delete this. We are right at a very strong critical level at this point, where price appears to be consolidating right under that bullish trend line. So are we going to be having a reversal pattern that will push price to the downside from this point? That is, we see structures here that supports a trend continuation to the downside from this point, or is there a possibility that we're going to be having a breakout of that trend line where a retest should give us further confirmation to join the rally to the upside? So these are scenarios we want to be looking forward to during the New York session today. So let's scale down to a lower time frame where we want to be seeing things very clearly, so that we can take advantage of any momentum lining up for us during the New York session today. So I want to be moving down to let's say the 1 hour time frame at this point, because I want to be looking at what is happening with this impulsive move. Remember, we have an impulsive move from here. We started yesterday morning and we saw this price move right into the 13,450 level, and from this point we've been seeing multiple rejection of that point. You can see we had an intention here where sellers wanted to come in, but it went further up. But as soon as it got into the 13,450 area, we've been witnessing a consolidation phase in the last 12 hours. Now, with this consolidation phase here, what does this tell us in the market? Obviously, it tells us that there is an indecision in the market right now, where participants are actually waiting for a catalyst or an event that will probably push price either way. So are we going to be seeing a breakout of this bullish trend line, or is there going to be a reversal pattern right under that bullish trend line that will send price crashing to the downside? So this is what we want to be looking at against the New York session. So with the structure we have here, something I'm beginning to notice that I think this impulsive move appears to be ending as we begin to see that structure around this area. So what we want to be looking forward to, is it going to be a possibility? Is there going to be a possibility where this movement to the downside could be a retracement of the previous impulse leg, where a trend continuation will begin from our golden zone area into the upside? Well, let's scale down a little to the 15 minutes time frame so that we can see what the structure is giving us here. So if we move down to the 15 minutes time frame, and what I want to be doing here is to identify the structure right above this level. So bringing out our line chart, and we connect this structure here. We have one here. This is our support level of that structure around this point, and then we have the resistance point somewhere around here. Let's make it this point, and let's bring back our candle chart. So we have a support level here, we have a resistance level at this point. Let's zoom in so that we can see things very clearly. So one thing we have noticed here is this: price was caught within this consolidation phase since the beginning of during the early hours of today. We've been seeing price consolidate within this area, but what we saw during the UK session was a breakdown of that structure. And what does that tell us? A breakdown of a structure gives us a signal that price is probably going to the downside from this point. Now we have a retest giving us further confirmation that we are going bearish. So if you had not taken advantage of this move, how do we intend taking advantage of a possible trend continuation to the downside from this point? Now, after identifying the structure here on the 15 minutes time frame, let's go back to the 1 hour time frame and see what we want to be doing to take advantage of the signal we have here on the 15 minutes time frame. So now that we have this impulse leg, the next thing, we have this impulse leg now, and we have a breakdown retest of this bearish trend line. What I'll be advising here is this: let's have a key level to guide our action during the New York session. So So on the 1 hour time frame, let's have a key level right around the 13,000. Remember, this key level is always there to make our job easier. So it helps us to not get caught up in the mix of the confusion in the market right now. So we have a key level sitting right at $13,380. Let's label that area key level at $13,380. Let's give this a golden color. So we have it right here. So good. So we have our key level here. So one thing we want to be saying is this. How this key level helps us is this. I'll show you. If price continue to oscillate right below the key level, then we want to be comfortable in our selling position. However, if price still oscillates right above that key level, then definitely we want to be looking forward to bullish potential here. So one thing we want to be looking forward to during the New York session is to take advantage of a selling momentum right below that key level. So if we are taking a selling momentum right below that key level, where will our take profit target be? Remember, we identified this impulsive move to the upside, and like I said, this could probably be a retracement of that impulse leg. And so if it's a retracement of the impulse leg, definitely we want to be looking at our golden zone area as our take profit target. So what we want to do here is to bring out our Fibonacci retracement tool, run it through that previous impulse leg here, and we have between the hold on a second, we have between so we have between the 50 and the 78.6% as our take profit target. So this is what we are going to be having. So we're going to be having within this area and if you look at the take profit target zone, it falls right within the previous key level at $13,100 level that we identified during the early days of the week. So if price comes below the key level at 13,380, we want to sell the US tech, and that will be giving us about how many pips? At least a minimum of 200 pips, 250, and a max of about 320 pips thereabout on this one. So let's say our price is going to relate with this $13,100 level. Let's see how price is going to relate with this level. If we are going to be having a breakdown of that structure, then a retest should give us further confirmation to join the decline into our previous take profit target zone at around the $12,900. So if things work accordingly, we should be having a max of about 500 pips to catch here on the US tech. So a close of candle below this key level at the $13,380 on our lower time frame should give us confirmation to join the decline. So that is for those who actually missed the breakdown retest of that channel there. So this is what we are looking forward to on the US tech. And let's see how price action is going to play out during the New York session. How I wish I could ask if there are any questions in this regard. Then the other scenario which I told you is that a breakout of this bullish trend line should give us a signal that a bullish momentum is coming in. And if we look at, we have this channel here. If we have a breakout of that bullish trend line, then we want to wait for price to come back and do a retest of this channel or this bullish trend line with reversal patterns on lower time frame to join the rally to the upside. So these are the two scenarios we are looking forward to, but I'm of the opinion that we might be having a bearish momentum during the New York session today. So this is what we look forward to, and I hope I've made myself very clear. In that case, unfortunately, we can't communicate via the chat, so we have to move on to the next pair from here. So the next pair we deliberated on yesterday is what pair is that we talked about yesterday? I think we talked about I think is it the GBPUSD, I guess. Yes, the GBPUSD. It was a wonderful and beautiful moment for us on GBPUSD yesterday as we were able to hit our take profit target. Price just moved as exactly as expected on the GBPUSD yesterday, and it took us right into our take profit target with engulfing candle. Within 2 hours, we were already take profits. And kudos to those who are taking advantage of this move yesterday. I think I told you I was writing that move right from the key level here at 1.220800 area, and price went significantly well in our favor. And let's see, what are we going to be doing during the New York session today? Well, I'm already in one trade on the GBPUSD already. I already took this sell opportunity here after I saw a breakdown of the 1.22200 area. And why have I taken that opportunity? Yes, I will be sharing with you why I did that. Now, if we move to the higher time frame, that is the 4 hours, I think the 4 hours or the daily time frame. Let's see. Let's go to the daily time frame first. Okay, so we are right on the daily time frame. First of all, I want to be deleting all these words as I don't think this is necessary at this point. Delete this, delete this. I want to delete this one as well. So that let's delete this buy opportunity. No, let's delete this one. Now, so why am I thinking of a selling opportunity here? Well, I'm still testing waters anyway. But one thing we obviously observe here on the daily time frame is that price action has been on a very strong bearish momentum since the beginning of the year, and you can see how price has been oscillating right below that bearish trend line since the month of April. Anytime price comes into that bearish trend line, we see multiple rejection that send price further to the downside. And what we have noticed at this point is that price is right back within that bearish trend line. So there are possibilities that could be happening around this area. I remember what I used to tell you about price around trend lines. Price around trend lines are very sensitive structure where we want to see confirmations to actually join any potential momentum that could be unfolding at a particular point in time. Now that we are right on a trend line here, which it is a bearish trend line in this case, there is a possibility that we could have a breakout of that trend line. And if we have a breakout of that trend line, it could be a signal that we are going bullish after we see a retest of structure to give us further confirmation that a bullish momentum is here. However, there's also a possibility that we could have a reversal pattern of that bearish trend line where we could take advantage of a downtrend situation. So now that we are on a bearish trend line, price action is right within that bearish trend line. What is going to be our plans going forward? So now we move down to a much lower time frame. Let's say the 4 hours time frame, and let's see what is happening on the 4 hours time frame. So scaling down to the 4 hours time frame, what did we see? After taking profits from this impulsive move yesterday, we saw that as soon as price got into the bearish trend line we identified on the daily time frame, we saw a sharp rejection of that level. Now we saw the first rejection, price came back, we saw the second rejection, and it brought price right into the 1.21900 area. And what happens afterwards? Between yesterday night and the early hours of today, we saw price came back into that bearish trend line. So one thing I'm thinking here is this is likely going to turn out to be a reversal pattern in the form of a double top structure. And when we have a double top structure like this, we want to wait for further confirmation in the form of a breakdown of the neckline of that structure with a retest of structure to give us further confirmation of a downtrend scenario. But look at me, I've already taken advantage of that move despite the fact that the double top structure is yet to be confirmed. But before we scale down to the lower time frame, the first thing I want to be doing here is to identify the neckline of that double top structure which we think is going to happen. So what we do here is to bring out our line chart at this point, and if we look at the left, we can see that this same level has a structure we can use to work with. So we have this neckline right around this 1.21. Where is that? 1.21850 is our neckline here. So let's place this neckline at 1.21850, right? Okay, so we have a neckline at 1.21850, which is going to be our yardstick in the next couple of weeks. But so one thing we are going to be looking forward to for this reversal pattern to confirm, we want to see a breakdown of this neckline, retest of structure to give us further confirmation to the downside. That's from a long-term perspective. So we never can tell what is going to happen. Are we really going to have the breakdown of that structure, or are we going to see price continue to the upside from this point, break out of that bearish trend line we identified in daily time frame, retest of structure, and send price to the upside? So these are the two scenarios that are possible, judging from what we can see here on the 4 hours time frame. So let's scale down to the 1 hour time frame and let's see what is happening around this area. So on the 1 hour time frame, I think, okay, yes, on the 1 hour time frame, this is what I see here on the 1 hour time frame. Now I'll show you, I'll give you a visual representation of what. So we saw this impulsive move to the upside. Price rejected this bearish trend line that we identified on the daily time frame, remember, multiple times. Then we saw this engulfing candle taking price out of that structure, and then we saw a breakdown of this 1.22 level. We saw the breakdown, price retested that level, price came back, and buyers made one more attempt to break out of that bearish trend line. The bearish trend line we identified on the daily time frame. Buyers tried to break out of that trend line. We saw this engulfing candle taking price with an attempt to break out of this bearish trend line, but unfortunately it couldn't break out. As we can see, obviously we saw a bearish engulfing candle the second time, taking price, rejecting that level, and pushing price to the downside. So what did I do here? I was able to identify the structure. I saw that this area was significant in pushing price to the upside. This area was significant in trying to push price to the downside from this point, and then we saw a breakout of this level, and I said, okay, fine, if I see a breakdown of this 1.22 one more time, I'm going to do a sell just to test waters. So with this position right now, I'm actually entering with half of my position size on this one. So since we have that breakdown of the 1.22 level, I entered that trade to see how price is going to play out. Remember, we have our neckline here, which is where we want to be waiting for that reversal pattern to be confirmed. That is a breakdown. That's from a long-term perspective. So I've already entered this trade at this point with a stop loss right above the previous structure, which is above the bearish trend line here. So one thing I'm waiting for is this. I'm waiting for price to break down this neckline here. If I see a breakdown of that neckline, then I want to be waiting for further confirmation in the form of a retest of structure. It could be the retest of this neckline. It could come as far as this area. But one thing I want to be looking forward to on lower time frame is a reversal pattern that is price is actually going to the downside. Then I can now enter with my full position on this one with the aim of a take profit target around the key level area where price action started this week. So this is what I'm looking forward to on the GBPUSD. So let's see how price is going to play out during the New York session. If you want to join me on this one, you could join me right now. But if you are very conscious and you think you want the confirmation to happen, it's quite okay that we wait for price to actually break down that neckline here at 1.21850 level, where we'll be looking for a reversal pattern to join the decline to the downside. So this is what we are looking forward to, and our take profit target in the meantime remains right around between the 1.20800 area and the 1.20500 area, which will dovetail to about how many pips that is. That's about 150 pips minimum to catch here. And let's see how price is going to relate with this level. If price breaks down that level, then a retest of that structure should give us further confirmation that we are going bearish with a take profit target that we earlier scheduled for 1.19500 area during the early days of the week. So this is what we are going to be looking forward to on the GBPUSD as we prepare for the New York session today. So I hope I just made myself clear. Unfortunately, I just wish we could get this sorted out. but the team are saying they are working on ensuring that the charts come back alive. So I hope this is going to be sorted out before the end of the session. So let's move on to the next pair. And what is the next pair we are going to be deliberating on? I think we talked about the next pair we deliberated on yesterday is, let me see, okay, the USD Jpy, and the USD Jpy also okay, I think is the gold. Yes, the gold, XAUUSD. So we moved on to the gold, and the gold also did very well yesterday, as we were able to see price action move in our direction, and it's our take profit target zone at around the 1805 level. We had a take profit target. It tested that level and came back down into the key level I have here at the $1,785 level. So for those who took advantage, we took this move with me since Monday. In fact, we made quite a lot of profit here, as we were able to make over 3,000 pips here on the XAUUSD. Right now, what is going to be our plans as we head into the New York session today? What are we going to look forward to? Yes, well, the thing is this. After price breaking out of that 1,785 level, let me show you. After price broke out of the $1,785 level here, we saw the breakout of the $1,785 level here, I think on Tuesday, I guess. We saw the breakout of structure. And what do you expect when price breaks out of a structure? We expect price to come back and do a retest of that structure with the intention of moving in the prior leading price action. And in this case, the prior leading price action is bullish. So right now, price came into this area, break out of that structure, and right now price is back at the $1,785. So what do we expect? We expect to see multiple rejections of this level, that is on our lower time frame, with a breakout or retest of structure to join the rally to the upside. So what happened afterwards? Let's see. So if we zoom into the current structure we have here, the first thing I want to first of all clear out is this. Remember, we are in an ascending channel when we look at the higher time frame. Let's go to the 4 hours time frame here and see what is happening here on the 4 hours time frame. You see, on the 4 hours time frame, remember, we are in an ascending channel where price has consistently respected the channel, finding consecutive higher highs and higher lows within the channel. And right now, price is right back within the support level of the ascending channel. And right within the support of the ascending channel, we've been seeing reversal patterns around that area on the lower time frame. I will show you. So we scale down to the 15 minutes time frame here to see how price has been relating with that level. If you can see, you can look at this closely at the $1,785 level, which also shares a confluence with the support level of the ascending channel. We have a reversal pattern which looks like this. We have the structure here, we have a reversal pattern here. You can see how price did after this impulsive move to the downside. We saw this multiple rejection of the 17,805 level, which was my key level for the week, and then we saw the breakout of that structure during the early hours of today. Now we saw the breakout, we saw the retest of structure, and boom, I'm in the straight. I'm already in the straight already, and now price is running in profit at this point. So we really have a very good structure to play around with here on the XAUUSD. So entering the trade right now is most appropriate for anyone who is about enjoying this. Sorry, this is where my entry point was. Okay, this is where it was here, right on this point. So we are presently running with about how many pips in profit right now? 300 pips. So if you identify this level, kudos to you. But if you are not yet in this trade, we still have, I think we still have more opportunities to enter this trade. Now the next key level we have in here is right at the $1,790 level. I think $1,790 500 level. Let's label it so that we have the 1,709. Hold on a second. 1,790.500 level here. which is also an area we can be looking forward. That is for those who have actually missed the breakout retest of the structure. Then a breakout of this level, a breakout retest of this level should give us further confirmation in the form of a reversal pattern here to join the rally into the take profit target. So our take profit target still remains the same. We still have our take profit target zone between the $1,805 and the $1,812 area as our take profit target, which will be dovetailing to about over 2,000 pips thereabouts to catch if price moves in our direction on this one. So this is what I'm looking forward to here on the XAUUSD. I'm still expecting price to continue to the upside on this one, and let's see how price action plays out during the New York session. Now the other scenario that could be happening, we can expect something and price does the opposite. So we have to be very, very flexible. We never can tell what could actually happen. So as much as we're expecting a bullish momentum to continue from this point, we cannot ignore the possible breakdown of this resistance point, of this support level of the ascending channel. So let's go back to the higher time frame here. So going back to the 4 hours time frame. As long as price still oscillates right above this level at the $1,785 level, I want to be maintaining a buy position. However, let me show you. However, if we do have a breakdown of this support level of the ascendant channel, then that should give us a signal that we are going bearish. And remember, when we get a signal like this, we don't want to get too excited, as we want to wait for further confirmations to give us that assurance that we're actually going bearish. So the confirmation should either come in form of a retest of the $1,785 level, or it could go as far as retesting that support level of the ascending channel, where we look out for reversal patterns on lower time frame to join the decline to the downside. So at this point, I still crave for the I still crave for the bullish momentum here on the XAUUSD, considering the fact that we have been bullish since the beginning of the month. And let's see how price action is going to relate with this level going forward. Are we going to have a breakdown, or are we going to have a trend continuation to the upside? But for me, I'm already on this trade. I'm already bullish on this one. So let's see what happens during the New York session. And please be mindful of the $1,790 level, where I told you that if we have a breakout of that level, a retest of that level should give us further confirmation of joining the rally into the upside. So this is what I'm looking forward to here on the XAUUSD. So let's see what happens. I wish you best of luck. Be on standby to take advantage of that move, especially for those who missed the breakout retest here of the neckline we identified here at 1,788 level. So that's that on the XAUUSD. So the next pair we deliberated on yesterday is the GBPUSD. I think we said something on GBPUSD, I guess. Have we? Okay, yes, we did on the GBPUSD. Then the next one is the USD Jpy. And in fact, USD Jpy moved significantly well too as well, and I was able to take a massive, how many pips that is? I think I stopped out here at this point around 200 pips here on the USD Jpy. Remember how this has been since the beginning of the week. It was so boring that price has been consolidating around our entry zone. Look at what happened since the beginning of the week. Price has been consolidating around this area as participants are yet to make a decision. But remember, we identified a selling opportunity zone, and we said we are going to be waiting for that selling momentum to happen. And remember, we're already on this trade since Monday, and some will have actually left the trade. That's why it's always good to be very, very patient when you are doing this business. So we held on to our position, and we were able to make some profits on the USD Jpy as price crashed through our breakthrough, our key level, and took us right into this point. Well, on a long-term perspective on the USD JPY, I'm still expecting price to continue to the downside on this one, and the reason why that is simply because of what? Now we look left, we can see that we have a bearish. Let's go to the 4 hours time frame. Let's go to the 4 hours time frame. On the 4 hours time frame, we were able to identify this bearish trend line. Remember, after connecting the series of lower highs here, we saw the first high, we saw the second lower high here, and we saw the third one here, and we were expecting that this area as well is going to push price to the downside, and lo and behold, that happened. Now the reason why I'm still thinking that on a long-term perspective that price is still likely going to go to the downside on this one is because of the previous impulse leg. The last time price tested the bearish trend line was this move to the downside, and definitely what we want to be doing is to project this impulse leg into the future. Hold on, sorry, I wish to do this. Okay, project this into the future using our Fibonacci extension tool, and if we run our Fibonacci extension through this impulse leg, what do we have? We aim at between the 127.2 and the 1414 area, and if we do that, we have between this point as our take profit target zone in a long-term perspective. So, and that is dovetailing to about how many pips that is. That's over 700 pips to catch here on a long-term perspective. So for the week, we've already made our profit on the week. So how do we intend taking advantage of a trend continuation? Is this trend going to continue to the downside during the New York session today, or are we going to have price come back to do a retest of this key level we identified at the 135 Japanese yen, which also shares a confluence with the bearish trend line we identified here on the 4 hours time frame, after which we look out for reversal patterns that will send price going to the downside. So this is one thing we want to be looking out for on the lower time frame. So let's scale down to the lower time frame and let's see what is actually happening. So scaling down to the 1 hour time frame, what do we see here? So looking at what we have on the 1 hour time frame, the first thing I observed here is that following this impulsive move that took us right out of that bullish trend line, we saw that price rejected the 132.100 Japanese yen level, and price came as far as the 133.290 300 area. Then it appears we are seeing a reversal pattern, but we are not sure this is a reversal pattern yet, though it looks more like a double bottom structure. So the first thing we want to be doing here is to identify this level as a demand zone, at least a temporary one, but we never can tell if this demand zone is going to hold. So let's label this area the demand zone. Let's label this area first. Mind you, we are not yet jumping into conclusions. We are still working our way into finding an answer to our plans for the New York session today. So let's keep watching and let's see where price action leads us to. So we have a demand zone here right now, temporary. Let us call it a temporary one at this point, as we are not sure if this is going to hold. So right now, if we have a demand zone here, if you look at the structure, it looks like a double bottom structure. We have the first rejection here, we have the second one here, and if we have a breakout of that structure, a retest confirms that we are actually doing a retracement of that impulse leg. So what we're going to be doing here, since we're already projecting a bearish momentum for the USD JPY, I'm expecting price to come back into the key level at the 135 Japanese yen, which also shares a confluence with the bearish trend line, where we want to be looking forward to taking advantage of a trend continuation to the downside. So this is what we want to be looking out for during the New York session. However, for those who like scalping in this kind of scenario, remember we're on a bearish momentum. Those who like scalping, those who like taking counter trend opportunities, well, if this turns out to be a double bottom structure, that is, this structure here turns out to be a double bottom structure, then definitely we want to have a neckline of our double bottom structure. So if we bring out our line chart, where would our neckline be? If we look left, we want to look at an alignment. Okay, 133.300 appears to be most appropriate at this point. So let's have this area as our neckline going forward. that is, if this turns out to be a double bottom structure. Remember, a double bottom structure is not yet formed until we see a breakout of this neckline. So this is our neckline here at where is that neckline? At 133.300 level, I guess, right? Yes, 133.300 level is our neckline. Let's place this right at the top of, I think this is good here. So we have a neckline here at 133.300. So one thing that we want to be looking forward to is this: if we see a breakout of this level, a retest of that structure should give us confirmation that we want to be going bullish into, remember, our take profit target. If you are taking a counter trend trade or you are a short-term trader, you want to be looking at how many pips that is at that's over 190 pips. Wow. So you could be looking forward to over 190 to 200 pips here if you are taking a counter trend trade. But for me personally, I'm not going to be taking any bullish momentum until I see price come back into this area. Then I want to take that downtrend scenario. But if you are a counter trend trader, it's okay if it's your style. And if you're a short-term trader like a scalper, you trade on lower time frames, you can actually take advantage of that move when the confirmation finally happens. So this is what we are going to be looking forward to. So on a long-term perspective, we are expecting a bearish momentum. That is, we want to wait for price to come back into this area and then give us that signal we want to be going to the downside. And if you are a counter trend trader or a short-term trader, you could be thinking of taking advantage of an opportunity at a breakout retest of the structure during the New York session. So let's say our price is going to play out during the New York session on the USD JPY. Then let's move on to the final pair we deliberated on, which is the AUD USD. And the AUD USD to move as expected, as we were able to take profit on the AUD USD. What was that? I think it was is it Wadia that introduced us to the AUD USD yesterday? I can remember. So we were able to identify the structure here on the AUD USD, where we identify a buying zone here between the 0.695 area. We were able to identify a buying zone here, and what we saw was a rejection of that level. We had this rejection. We identified this during the live session yesterday, and we were around this point, and I told you that if we have a retest of this level, then we want to be taking advantage of a buying momentum, which actually happened. We had two scenarios yesterday. If you remember vividly, we had two scenarios yesterday. The first scenario is that we want to see price do a retest of this level at 0.69650 to join the rally to the upside, or if price breaks down that level, we want to be looking for buying opportunity right within the buying zone here. But what happened? We saw the retest of this level giving us the confirmation to join the rally. In fact, within 3 hours, we were able to hit our take profit target, which was about how many pips? 900 pips thereabouts on the AUD USD. So if you are taking advantage of that move yesterday, kudos to you. And let's see what our plans is going to be against the New York session today. So now let's scale up to the 4 hours time frame. Let's see what's happening on the 4 hours time frame. Okay, so on the 4 hours time frame, let's delete this as this is no longer needed. So on the 4 hours time frame, the first thing we want to observe is this: as soon as price tested the 0.701100 level here, we saw a couple of rejections, and right now price is right back at that level. So the first thing that will come to your mind is that, is this turning out to be a reversal pattern in the form of a double top structure? That is the first question that will come to my mind. Now, if this is going to be a reversal pattern, that if you want to count this as a double top structure, then we are not going to be in a haste, as we want to wait for price to give us a confirmation, a signal, and that signal will definitely come in form of a breakdown of the neckline. So when we see a breakdown of the neckline, that's a signal. Remember, we don't want to get too excited, as we want to wait for further confirmation in the form of a retest of structure on lower time frame to join the decline to the downside. So now the first thing we want to be doing here is to identify the neckline. So we bring out our line chart at this point, and then we identify our neckline, which falls around the 0.7. Let's see where that falls at. 0.76. let's see, zero point 0.7, I think 0.70700 is most appropriate. Let's see, 0.70650, I think. So 0.70650 is 0.70650 is our neckline. Let's place it at the bottom of that line. Good. Okay, now we have that. So we have our neckline at 0.70650 right now. So what we want to be doing here is this. We are not sure if this is going to be a reversal pattern yet. We are not sure, though we have multiple rejection of that level at 0.71100, but we are not sure if it's going to be a reversal pattern. The only time we are going to be confirming that it's going to be a reversal pattern is when we see a breakdown of this neckline. And when we see a breakdown of this neckline, we want to do a sell after we see confirmation in the form of a retest of the neckline, where we look out for reversal patterns on our lower time frame to join the decline to the downside. So this is what we want to be looking forward to on the AUD USD. So that will give us how many pips? Take profit target for me, let's have our take profit target within the buying zone here, which is about 120 pips to catch here if price moves accordingly. Now the other scenario we want to look forward to. So for this one, I want to scale down to a much lower time frame, that is the 15 minutes time frame. So now remember, we identified this level as an area that has been rejected multiple times, as we can see here on the 15 minutes time frame. So let's give this let's label this a supply niche. So this is a supply zone that has been rejecting price action in the last how many hours that is. We're going to check that now. So we have this place, our supply zone. In the last 15 hours, we have been seeing multiple rejection of this level. So we saw a multiple rejection here during the later part of New York session yesterday. Then we saw multiple rejection during the early hours of today. So one thing we want to be doing here is this. If you are thinking of buying the AUD USD, well, I will be suggesting that you wait for price to break out of that supply niche. That is, price buyers should take out all the selling positions around this point. Then we see a breakout that gives us a signal. Remember, we are not getting too excited at the sight of a signal. We want to wait for further confirmation, which is likely going to come in form of a retest of the structure, where we'll be looking forward to a reversal pattern or a sharp rejection of this level to join the rally to the upside. And if we are joining the rally to the upside, well, what I'll be advising is that we should aim at around the 0.71600 area, which is the area where price action started in the month of June. So let's see how many pips that's going to give us. That's about 65-70 pips here on the lower time frame. That's for the meantime. Let's see how price is going to relate with that level, after which we could be thinking of adding more position or probably joining a decline. Remember, we have a reversal pattern here. Hold on a second, I want to show you. If we scale to the past, we see that we have a reversal pattern here during the early days of the month of June. You might be asking me, what reversal pattern is that? It looks like a head and shoulder pattern. We saw this pattern before we saw the breakdown of that structure, and we could likely see price come back into the neckline of that area around here to send price crashing to the downside. So that's why I said, if you are buying the AUD USD at the breakout of that structure we identified on the 15 minutes time frame, we want to be looking at the zone at around the 0.72 area, 0.71650, 0.71700 area as our take profit target area for any buying momentum. But for me, if we see a breakdown of the neckline at 0.70650, we want to be doing a sell on the AUD USD. Well, I think it's high time we called it a day here. And before I do, let's quickly run through and take a recap of what we have deliberated so far. So we started today with, as usual, with our usual pill of the US oil. And on the US oil, we were excited and glad that we were able to take in some profit here on the US oil, as we were able to close yesterday's trade with about how many pips, at least a minimum of 400 pips here on the US oil. And one thing I told you to do here is that we are right at a very significant level. It's a key level which also shares a confluence with the bearish trend line we identified on the higher time frame. So one thing I said here is that since we are right around a trend line, we want to be very mindful of just jumping into an unnecessary trade. So what we want to be looking forward to is to see how price action is going to relate with this level in the next couple of hours, or probably during the New York session. And the two scenarios I painted here is that there is a possibility that we could have a breakout of that key level, which also shares a confluence with the bearish trend line. That means if we have a breakout of that trend line, it tells us that participants in the market is no longer respecting, that is, price is no longer respecting that bearish trend line. But we don't want to get too excited. We want to wait for further confirmation in the form of a retest of either the trend line or the key level at $93 with reversal patterns on lower time frame to join the rally to the upside. And we projected the $100 mark as somewhere we want to be using as our long-term take profit target for any bullish momentum here on the US oil. Then the other scenario I made mention here is that we could likely see a retest, a rejection of this key level or the bearish trend line. That is, we could be seeing a reversal pattern here, that is a double top or a head and shoulder pattern, or it could be a rising wedge. Whatever that is, we want to be looking forward to a reversal pattern with confirmation on lower time frame at a breakout retest of structure to join the decline. And if that is going to be happening, well, our take profit target zone should be around the $89 area marks. As we can see, we have demand structures around this area, so let's have that area as our take profit target if we see any selling momentum from this point. Now I want to put a caveat here. The $90.50 level is a very significant level. You can see how it has held price supported in the past. It has been a major determinant of price action. You saw it making selling opportunities from this point. So if price at any time comes into this level, if you are taking a selling momentum after confirmation, one thing we want to be doing is to move our stop loss to break even, or you can lock in some profits, move your stop loss to break even, whichever that suits you, so that this level could likely send price crashing out and breaking out of that bearish trend line. So we want to be very mindful of this level as soon as price comes into this level, so that we can hold our position and don't get ourselves caught up in an unnecessary risk to our account. And if we do have a breakdown retest of that level, that is, price breaks down retest of this level, then reversal patterns on lower time frame could give you an opportunity to add more position to your existing trade. So this is what we have here on the US oil. Then we moved on to talk about the US tech, where I told you that we were expecting price to come back into the structure so that we can look out for selling momentum here. And one thing we look forward to here is this. We scaled down to the 15 minutes time frame, where we were able to identify a channel where price has been consolidating within this channel since the beginning of this early hours of today. We saw our price has been consolidating within this channel during the early hours of today. We saw this not until the later part of I think early hours of the the UK session. We saw the breakdown of that channel. With the breakdown of that channel, that gives us a signal that we might be having a bearish momentum. Then a confirmation came in form of a retest of that level. So with the retest of that level at this point, then we want to be selling the US tech. But one thing I said here to make our job easier, we scaled that up to the 1 hour time frame, and we were able to identify a key level as 13,380 level. So I said here that below the 13,380 level seems most appropriate to be selling the US tech, and we never can tell, this move could actually be a retracement of the previous impulse leg. That is, price, we saw this impulsive move, it could be a retracement into this area where we'll be looking forward to a trend continuation to the upside. So if we are selling from this point, the golden zone area, which is between the 50 and the 78.6% of the previous impulse leg, that is a retracement into the zone, is that area we are looking for our take profit targets. And let's see how price will relate with this level, here. So if price breaks down that level, then we want to be adding more position at the breakdown retest of structure. So that is that for the selling momentum here on the US tech. Then the other scenario which I played out here is that if we finally see a trend continuation to the upside, then we want to wait for price action to break out of this channel. Remember, this channel has been respected since the beginning in the last 18 to 20 hours. So we want to see price break out, in the last 7-10 hours. So we want to see price break out of that structure to give us clear signal that, okay, we've taken out all the selling positions from this point. Then a retracement into this level should give us further confirmation to join the rally to the upside on the US tech. Now we moved on to talk about the GBPUSD, where I told you I'm still expecting a selling moment. I told you I'm already in this trade already, and I was able to take advantage below the 1.22200 level, and the reason I shared with you was because of this key level here, which has been a demand niche here. Price broke down that level. We saw signs where sellers wanted to push price to the downside from this area, so we saw price break it out again. I said if price breaks this area one more time, I'm going to be doing a sell. And the reason why I've been looking for a selling momentum I shared with you was simply because price is right within the bearish trend line of the GBP USD on the daily time frame. So price being on the bearish trend line around that area, rejecting that area multiple times, is probably going to be giving us a signal that we might be going bullish. But one thing I said here is that I'm actually entering with the half of my normal position size on this one because it's still a risk for me. So the only confirmation of a bearish momentum will only happen if we have a breakdown of the neckline here. So we were able to identify the neckline at 1.21800 area, and I said if a breakdown of this neckline happen, that gives us a signal that we are actually going bearish on this one. So if that happens, we want to wait for confirmation in the form of a retest of that neckline, where we'll be looking for reversal patterns on lower time frame to join the decline to the downside. So if that happens, now I'm going to be entering with my full position size on this one. So that is that on the GBPUSD. Then the other scenario I made mention of here is that a breakout of that bearish trend line we identified on the daily time frame could be a signal that we are going bullish. So if we see a breakout during the New York session, then a retest of structure should give us confirmation to join the rally to the upside. So let me show you that bearish trend line for those who missed the early part of the session. So we had this is the bearish trend line here on the daily time frame. So if we see a breakout of that trend line, then we want to be thinking of buying after the confirmation is done. Then we went on to talk about the XAUUSD, where I told you I'm expecting a bullish momentum here. I shared with you how I entered this trade. We were able to identify a reversal pattern around this area, which also shares a confluence with the support level of the ascending channel we were able to identify on the 4 hours time frame, giving us further confirmation that we are going bullish on this one. So for those who had missed this one, I was able to identify another level for you at the $1,790 500 area, where I said if we see a breakout of that structure, that is an engulfing candle taking us out of that structure, then a retest should give us further confirmation to join the rally. Our take profit target still remains around the 1805 and the 1812 area. Remember, we already take a profit on this one. We took profit on the XAUUSD yesterday, and we are hoping that we're going to be taking another profit before the end of the week on the XAUUSD. So let's see how price plays out. Then the other scenario is this: for anybody thinking of selling momentum here on the XAUUSD, I would advise you to pause and wait for price to actually break down the support level of the ascending channel, where a retest of the level should give us confirmation to go bearish. Then we went on to deliberate on the USD Jpy, where we are also very profitable as price moved significantly well. I think over 200 pips in our direction after waiting for 4 days before the 3 days before the movement finally happened. So we are profitable on this one. Then we shared how we plan to take advantage of any opportunity during the New York session, where we were able to identify a demand zone here. As we can see, multiple rejection of this level in the last 12 hours. Price has been rejecting this level. So we are thinking, is this going to be a reversal pattern? Is it going to be a double bottom structure? So in that regard, we were able to identify a neckline at 133.300 area as a double bottom structure can only be confirmed when we see a breakout of that structure. So when we see a breakout of the structure, a retest of the structure should give us confirmation to go to the upside. But mind you, I told you that we want to be waiting for price to come into the 135 Japanese yen area, which also shares a confluence with the bearish trend line we identified on the 4 hours time frame. Then we look out for patterns to join the rally to the downside. That is that. And I mentioned that for those who like taking short-term trades or counter trend opportunities, you could be looking forward to taking advantage of that move. That is, if we see a breakout retest of this level, you could take advantage of that move if you're a counter trend trader or a short-term trader. So that's about 200 pips to catch here. It's quite huge anyway, so if you want, you could take that. So that is that on the USD JPY. Then we went further to talk about the AUD USD, which is the final pair we deliberated on today. And on the AUD USD, we were very profitable yesterday. We were able to catch 100 pips move. We took this move to the upside on the AUD USD, and kudos to those who took advantage of that move. And now our plans for the New York session fell into two categories. And the first category is this: we saw multiple rejection of the 0.710 level. As we can see, we see our price has rejected that level multiple times. We saw the first rejection here, we saw the second rejection here. So the next question that came to mind is that, is this likely going to turn out to be a double top structure? So if this is going to be a double top structure, remember, we are not going to get too excited. We want to wait for signals, and the signal can only come in the form of a breakdown of the neckline. So we have a neckline at 0.70650, where we're looking forward to a breakdown, retest of structure to join the decline to the downside. So that is the second scenario we're looking forward to. And our take profit target I mentioned was to be around the buying zone here. We identified, let's see our price relates to that level before we could be thinking of adding more position or probably changing our bias on this one. Then the other scenario is this: for any bullish momentum on the AUD USD, we want to see price do an outright breakout of the 0.7110 area, which has been a selling niche in the last 12 hours. So we want to see price take out all the selling positions from those points. Then we know that, okay, fine, we are going bullish, but we will have to wait for confirmations in the form of a retest of that level, where a reversal pattern on lower time frame will give us further confirmation to join the rally. So in that case, we are aiming at around the 0.71700 and the 0.72 area as our take profit target, as that is where price action started the month of June this year. So on this note, we call it a day. It has been interesting anyway. Interesting because we were able to make profit in the last couple of days. We were able to make some profits during yesterday's trading session. That's what made it interesting, but unfortunately we couldn't talk and discuss as usual, but it's okay. Hopefully tomorrow things will have been sorted out from the technical team, and we shall be here again tomorrow to discuss as usual. So thank you very much for being around. I really appreciate every moment you guys had with me here. And so let's see what's going to be happening on what we have discussed so far. So thank you very much, guys, and I wish you a wonderful and profitable New York session. Bye bye.